I will now call to order a meeting, the Mayor Borough Council, Borough of Seaside Park, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, held on Thursday, May 21st, 2026. Pursuant to the provisions of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting was properly provided by transmitting the notice of the meeting for publication in the Asbury Park Press and the Ocean Star on January 2nd, 2026. Notice of this meeting in the governing body also has been posted in the corridor of the municipal building and in the office of the municipal clerk. Roll call.
Councilmember Condos?
Here.
Councilmember Connor?
Here.
Councilmember Pratt?
Yes, here.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes, here.
Councilmember Toth?
His excuses even related for work-related duties. He's working.
Thank you. Council President Wilk?
Here.
Mayor Pearson?
Here.
Thank you.
Let's all stand together for a moment of silence to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda calls for approval of the minutes of May 7th, 2026, a work session, May 7th, 2026, a regular meeting. Any comments?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember Pratt,
I'll second it.
second by Council President Wilk. Roll call.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next item on the agenda are ordinances, and the first, and these first three ordinances all dealt with a number of issues discussed at the time of introduction and also in conjunction with the planning board. And as well, this last planning board meeting of this very week on Monday, there was extensive discussion as well. Item A is an amendment to ordinance 22622, amending chapter 200 of the Borough Code of the Borough of Seaside Park entitled Development Regulations to amend substantial damage regulations. As the amendment with the recommendation of the professionals from the board, including the attorney, the amendments would be material changes in the ordinance as originally introduced and as published to such an extent that this evening's motion would actually extend the public hearing for the amended ordinance now to be republished with that second reading scheduled for June 18th, 2026. And that being said, I would entertain, there's a resolution 226-216 amending the ordinance 226-22, which would need to be published prior to the second reading and final adoption. Are there any more explanation, any comments from council? If not, I would entertain a motion on the resolution.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Council President Wilk
I'll second it, Mayor.
and second by Councilmember Connor. Roll call.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Pratt?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Motion approved.
And the similar background is applicable with respect to the next, is amendment to ordinance 226-23, amending chapter 200 of the Borough Code, Borough of Seaside Park, entitled Development Regulations to reduce the freeboard allowed above base flood elevation. Again, this amendment was deemed to be a material change, and it came about with input, comments in particular from a well-respected expert for various developers was one of the comments, and the board itself unanimously adopted the proposed amendments at its meeting Monday evening. As such, again, a public hearing, therefore, would be scheduled for June 18th, 2026, and what would be considered this evening is Resolution 226-217, amending Ordinance 226-23 prior to final adoption. And this one entailed the recommendation to consider and incorporate in the ordinance various issues, including but not limited to the legacy permit, in particular now the length of time, and that being recognized by the DEP with the real rules. Do we have a motion, therefore, on Resolution 226-217?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Council President Wilk,
Second.
second by Councilmember Condos. Roll call.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Motion approved.
The next is final reading of adoption ordinance 226-24, amending Chapter 200, Article 7, zoning provisions to include residential 50 and residential 31.5 zones. And any comments, questions from council? And this too was a subject matter of discussion, including input from the aforementioned respected area engineer planner at this last Monday's meeting, and issues which had arisen. Also, again, the planning board considered this particular ordinance and unanimously recommended its passage. Any comments, questions from council? Hearing none, I will go into the audience for a public hearing for the second reading, rather, of the ordinance 226-24. If anyone has any public comments, if they could give their name and address into the record. Yes, sir.
Yes, is this on?
It should
If
be.
you press and hold, it should have a green button. The other microphones will still pick it up, but.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Yeah, you're still being picked up by those microphones.
Sure, my name is Kevin Zetterstrom. I own the house at 202 20th Avenue, previously, Berkeley Township. I just wanted to say that I object this ordinance, and I'd ask you to reconsider before final approval, potentially instead creating a new ordinance that's specific to the South Seaside Park area. Specifically, I think there's kind of like a critical flaw, and I emailed you, I don't know if you've seen the email that I sent you all, but I think there's a critical flaw in this, in that it actually creates a two-tiered neighborhood, right? People that
I didn't hear. It creates a what?
a two-tiered neighborhood, right? With disparity between neighbors, right? Those who have built to the previous Berkeley Township standards, and those who haven't built yet but would like to build in the future, right? And because of that, there's property value differences that, if I bought my house under Berkeley Township's previous zoning laws, previous ordinances, my property value is tied to those ordinances that were in place with Berkeley, right? And now they're kind of changed right away, and potentially the property value is altered or lowered because I can't build to the same height standards that I would have been able to build to previously. I have a family of 3 children. There's not much space on the lot to be able to build anywhere else but up potentially, right? And, restricting that is a cause of concern for me. So I just ask you to reconsider before final vote that this doesn't affect everybody in the neighborhood equally, and potentially consider adopting something that, rather than just incorporating South Seaside Park, houses into the Seaside Park ordinances, just be creative and come up with something slightly different.
Thank you, sir. And, yes, sir.
Don Whiteman, 2000 Barnegat Avenue, Seaside Park. I noticed there's a problem with, if you could turn to the ordinance, I think the engineer made a mistake. If you look at 2026-24, and he has in the middle of the page, residential 50, R50, and 31.5. He says the residential area 50 goes from 21st Avenue to 24th. I live on 20th Avenue, and I'm in the R50 zone, all right? And they put the R31.5 zone into 20th Ave. You can follow what I'm saying. In other words, what happened is that zone should go from 24th Avenue to the south side of 20th Avenue, not 21st. I'm living in a R50, my lot is 50 by 100. The other people on the south side of 20th Avenue was all 50 by 100 lots, or there are some smaller lots there. Now, what happens, the 31.5 zone, they have going from 15th Ave to 20th Ave. The north side of 20th Ave is the 31.5. And that goes all the way to really the south side of 14th Ave. What they're saying is it starts at 15th Ave. There's an area between 14th Ave and 15th Street that is left out. All right, and that should be under the 31.5. I don't know if you follow what I'm saying.
Yeah, the
Would
opposite
be-
sides.
Would just the name of the zone be enough? Do we need the actual locations?
Well, let's sort through this. My understanding is these were originally adopted to include the Berkeley Township zones.
So my house is in Berkeley Township zone is on the R50 zone. That is the.
No, I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
but what I understood the task at hand originally was just adopting all the zones that existed then in Berkeley Township, word for word.
Exactly.
So,
So they redo all of that.
if what you're saying is accurate, and I don't say it
Yeah.
isn't, that means that Berkeley Township's original description was not accurate.
Okay, so that means,
But the zones itself,
You're correct.
the designation of the zones are what we're dealing with.
I just don't want to be put into a 31.5 when everyone on my side of the street is 50 by 100 lots. You know, which would be the R50. We're on the south side of 20th Avenue. On the north side of 20th Avenue is 31.5.
No,
I understand.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay, can that be amended or changed or clarified maybe?
Can be clarified. Let me, I have welcomed our special counsel here who, but I don't know, she can shed some light on this perhaps, Ms. Cipriani.
Yeah, may I?
Yes, certainly, if you want to join us at the dais,
Thank you.
and I should have done so earlier, and I apologize to you.
I'm snorkeling around the hallway. So, and certainly the clarification can be made. I was checking the ordinances that these were taken from, and the descriptions were not as specific as was just laid upon the record. But as I understand it, the change would be that for the residential 50 zone, the R50, it would run from west of East Central Avenue to South Bayview Avenue, from the south side of 20th Avenue to 24th Avenue.
That is correct.
And
That
that's,
would be the south side of 24th Avenue.
yes, the south side, and that the residential 31.5, the
Right.
would include west of East Central Avenue to Girard Avenue, from the south side of 15th Avenue, Shore Villa Road, to the north side of 20th
It would have to
Avenue.
be the south side of 14th Avenue.
Oh, You know what? I heard you said 14th, and yet strangely wrote down 15th.
Now that covers, if you go 15, there's an area between 15 and 14 that is,
Right.
that was not included in this. So, all right, good. You know, if you look on the map, you'll see what you know.
Yeah, so I think that clarification we needed to the question of whether it's a substantial change. I certainly defer to the borough attorney on that issue.
Yeah, I would suspect that if it's just a change of the terms of the street, I don't think it's a material change that we could.
It would not be material, is that?
I don't believe it would be.
I think the designation
Right,
would
it's
cover.
it's
The actual
area.
designation in the zone
Yes.
is correct.
That's correct.
But we would need the clarification that moving forward, I agree.
Okay, thank you. Second item deals with the first ordinance, 2622.
I'm sorry, that ordinance is not I'm sorry, sorry, Barry, it's old habit.
We're past that one.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying, this is the public hearing on this ordinance only.
Oh, okay.
So reference to the other ordinances can be made during the general public comment session,
Okay.
but this is only on ordinance 2026-24.
All right, very good then. And if you were to look at the tax map, you would very easily see where 20th Avenue, the way they have it set up is the 31.5, and the other side of the street is 50 by 100. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Don.
Any other comments as to second reading 22624?
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Good. My name is Richard Hanna. My wife and I have been in the process with Berkeley Township for nearly 1 year to subdivide our current property and begin a home on an empty lot. First, I want to thank council for taking the time to address our concerns regarding potential adaptation of Seaside Park zoning rules in South Seaside Park, as well as the new NJDEP rules and the flood elevation requirements and challenges that create for both borough and homeowners. We fully support safer building standards and protecting homes from future flooding. But first, I want to discuss, in our opinion, the real-world impacts that these changes have adopted on families like mine who have already been working through this process in good faith. I've been in Seaside Park or in Berkeley Township my whole entire life. I was born and raised here, you know, and this is, my wife and I are finally getting to build our dream home. So we're very excited for this whole entire process. And this new legislation has, you know, created some obstacles that I'd like to address at this time. When annexation first occurred, we were informed through the reports and public discussions in council meetings like these that South Seaside Park will be adopting the 31.5 and R50 zones that Berkeley Township standards would effectively be carried over. Today we're hearing something potentially rather different. In our particular case, my mother, battling ALS, has been building a new home will not just be for my wife, but is a dream of my mother's to watch the sunrise and sunset from our roof. As mentioned earlier, we have spent nearly a year working with Berkeley Township on our subdivision, and with our builders, engineers, and lawyers to ensure we're doing everything in accordance with Berkeley Town zoning laws. We did not ask for a single variance, and now that we are at the finish line, neither are stamped and approved through Berkeley, we are being told our permits must go through Seaside Park. Outside of the time that is taken, also we have spent significant money in the ballpark of almost $75,000 in engineering, planning, and work needs to be done on our existing lot, as well as our architectural drawing plans for the rebuild. Our plans were submitted professionally and stamped before these new discussions. So my question is, what standards are being followed at this time? And are projects already being under the way being handled separately?
I'll turn that over to Ms. Cipriani
If you may, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with whether you wait till the end or.
No, I think it's a valid question, and I didn't quite, I heard about my laws and then I lost the train.
Well, it's a distracting word,
Yeah.
and it's an important word, but so, and I will get to your specific question. So on that issue of what ordinances were adopted, I think that there's been some misunderstanding, and yes, to your question, people who have approvals are in a different category and are going to be treated differently. And if you'll give me a little bit of time, I'll explain that as well. So just so everyone's clear, and if there was any confusion, I can certainly understand how it could be, but this was the process. Seaside Park did adopt all of the zones exactly, or we thought, exactly as they were under Berkeley Township's ordinances. So the R50, the R31.5, all of those zones were adopted, and the exact language for those zones from Berkeley Township's ordinances was incorporated into the Seaside Park Code. So that did happen. I think there's some people who have been saying, therefore, all of Berkeley Township standards should apply. In addition to the zoning ordinances that cover each zone. So anything for a specific zone. If there's a standard in a specific zone, that overrides any zoning ordinance of general application. The one that's come up the most often, but if it's silent on those things, then the ordinances of general application that apply across the board to all zoning areas are in effect. The most common one that's come up is how Seaside Park measures height. So Seaside Park's ordinances set a standard for how height is measured that is different than how Berkeley Township measures height. And that's not uncommon throughout the state, that each town has a different description of how that's done. So I think for some people that has been something that felt unexpected, because the zones were adopted, but the general zoning ordinances remain in effect. So that's that. In terms of applications and how they're, so we've got a couple of different groups. And some of those groups are in a more difficult position than others. And I'll refer to the first gentleman who spoke's point. Let's take the easiest ones first. If you have an approval from Berkeley Township, if you got an approval, you have approved, stamped and accepted plans, if you have an approval from the planning or zoning board, if you have an approval from the zoning officer, those are things that you are able to rely on, and you will be able to construct in accordance with the approval at the time that you receive it. Obviously, construction standards have to be adhered to. But on anything else, the standards that you got your approval under are the standards that will be applied to your build. So you probably, and I can't know the specifics on it, but if you have approved plans that were given by Berkeley, which had jurisdiction at the time that they gave that approval and gave that approval pursuant to certain standards, you can build to what was approved. They had the jurisdiction then, they had the right to get the approval, that approval will be honored. And then we have people who are in the application process now, they had pending applications before Berkeley Township. Berkeley Township has now lost jurisdiction, and so now they're at the Seaside Park Land Use Board, and so those standards from Seaside Park are being applied. But those are issues for the board, which they'll deal with. And then we have people that may not have an application pending, and this is sort of the hardest one of all, because I heard you, sir, and I'm sorry, I'm taking your time
This is
on the fact that there are zoning changes, that you buy your property with the expectation that things are going to be the way. The reality is that all zoning changes create a two-tiered system. Anytime you change a zoning standard, you change the zone, you change what's permitted in a zone, all of those things create two tiers. Those who developed prior to that change and those who are faced with developing or expanding or amending their use after that change. That is the inherent nature of zoning. It doesn't make it easier, but that is what zoning does. There are cases where, if a zoning change, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but takes away all value from your property, then you may want to talk to a lawyer about a regulatory taking. But if it just simply reduces what you used to be able to do, then that is in fact the nature of any zoning change. So you have every right to feel like you have every right to come and explain your position to the governing body and ask them to change it. But that is built into the nature of a zoning change ordinance, really of any ordinance change. It creates people who were subject to this standard, and now people who are subject to that standard. So I'm sorry, that was kind of a lengthy response, but I hope it addressed some of the issues that were raised here and some of the issues that we've received by email.
Yes, and my other concern was with the majority of the lots in South Seaside Park, for the 31.5 lots within the center, and it's almost that the new legislation or the zoning laws would penalize those lots based on the height. Based on the new NJDEP rules, we would only be able to build a house that's 28 feet high. And that would ruin almost like the character, and you also have to have a flat roof. And you're thinking of like HVAC and all the mechanicals, it's not a practical way to like move forward.
Yeah, and that's certainly something for the governing body to consider. I think some might argue that it is the real rules that have created that problem.
Of course, 100%, having to navigate between the two. Or just something, I want to shed light on, just navigating between the real rules and the new Seaside Park rules and just trying to make everything work. And just making everything consistent, with the setbacks and the heights and the variances. So thank you very much, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other comments on second reading? Yes, Mr. Bertram?
Good evening, and thank you. Eric Birchler, 1220 3rd Avenue. Thank you for allowing me to speak. So, I was misunderstood. I thought that when we were adopting an annexation process, by the way, first of all, you guys did a fantastic job, Mayor, Council, Special Counsel. It was very professionally done, whether you're pro or against it. I thought it was a very well done process. I've been watching a lot of other towns lately, especially Times River. What a difference. But going back to that, I thought that the height, the zoning for the height was being adopted at the same time. So I guess I misunderstood that during the annexation process. Is that correct?
So there was no standalone zoning for the height and how the height was
So
calculated.
as of that day that we officially annexed into Seaside Park, the height rules of Seaside Park took over South Seaside Park.
That's correct. So if a particular zone said that the height was
I got you.
32 or 35 or 38, then that was the standard. But the overall application
Understood.
of how we measure was in effect.
So I can tell you, I listened to the entire annexation process through the Zoom meetings, which were fantastic. I'm in the real estate business. I've built many homes in Seaside Park, South Seaside Park, now Seaside Park. I can tell you I didn't understand that. All right, so if I didn't understand it, I'm going to guess most of the public did not understand that. People asked me what I thought about the annexation when it happened. I said, we have two issues to worry about. They're going to take away our garbage cans and they're going to mess with your heights. So first week, bye-bye cans, and I get it. There's nothing you can do. I'll take the tax savings. I think it's a great thing for South Seaside Park. I think it's a great thing for Seaside Park. Garbage cans or no garbage cans. The height is what I want to talk about. The height is very important. Many people bought down in South Seaside Park because of the better zoning as it relates to height than the Seaside Park height ordinance. There's two major differences. There are 35-foot average in South Seaside Park. The R31 and the R50 is a 35-foot average. Seaside Park is 32-foot max ridge height. And here's the real difference. The new real bad rules come in. They're making you go higher. And as the gentleman was saying, you have to put vents underneath. If you have an elevator, you need clearance for it above. So what this does is, this greatly now shrinks your house. Now that's a real bad thing. And here's why it's a real bad thing. Because design standards nowadays, they want certain size first floor heights, second floor, and then the half floor. And to get the elevators in, you need clearance above it. All this comes down to ratables. The ratables are your friends. The more we build, the lower your rate's gonna go. Okay, it's gonna save all the taxpayers money. So these heights are a good thing, they're not a bad thing. And worse, when you start shrinking the heights, it's going to, his comment was spot on. You're gonna have a two-tiered system. You're having houses that were built, people bought down there to be a certain level. And then what's gonna happen is these houses are gonna shrink and it's not gonna look right. So you gotta let the local design, the architects and the engineers get their input. Because it's very important, because you want them to keep building, you want them to keep building their radables. So the design aspect is very important. And the shrinking of the house, I feel really bad for the people in the R31 zone. Because it's not just, I went from the 35-foot height, now you're shrinking it down to a certain percentage of the lot. So please reconsider. Overall, the annexation process, great. This is something that snuck through or something I didn't understand. I can tell you it wasn't bullet pointed in the annexation. That I can tell you for sure. So a lot of these people don't even have notice, and I know they don't require notice, but we just heard about it through the grapevine. So it is a major change. I ask you not to vote it through, to reconsider it. I respect the opinion regardless, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bertram.
Thank you.
Any other comments on second reading 226-24? Yes, Tom?
Tom Joseph, 704 South Bayview. I don't want to take very much time, because believe me, I don't know what you're talking about, and it isn't important that I do. All I know is, I'm sitting here listening to this, and I looked on Google Maps, and if you look at 15th Avenue, the south side of 15th Avenue is the little tiny lots with lots and lots of houses on them. The north side, they're a little bit bigger. If you go a block south, they're even bigger. If those are all R30.5, I'm done, I'll sit down. But it looks to me like your description of whatever this zone is needs to be much more complicated than these 3 sentences. And to me, that says you need somebody to go out and actually look at it and redraw this thing and use the right description. That's all.
Thank you. Any other comments on second reading 226-24? Yes?
Hi. I recently also,
Your name and address?
Sally Jo Ahern, and I purchased the house on 108 Midway Avenue. I also purchased it with the intent to build a new home, and the landscape is ever-changing. And I know a lot of us don't like progress, but progress has to happen. And if you drive up and down the block, you'll see there are a lot of old homes built in the 1950s, and they're dilapidated looking. And they don't make the scape beautiful any longer. And when Sandy came, you rebuild. And your motto was Jersey Strong. And I'm standing here wondering, why won't you let us help you make Jersey strong? And also, why don't you want our money? Our tax money. Who says no to money? So you could rebuild as that park went into the water, the Ferris wheel, tax money. Rebuilt that. I just watched you redo the decking. Tax money pays for that. And I live here year-round, so I'm not a vacationer. I chose to come to Jersey from New York. And I wanted the peaceful living. And I wanted the beautiful scape. And I wanted the beautiful views. But change has to happen. And we're not building eyesores, the eyesores that you want left there maybe. Or maybe I'm speaking out of turn. But anyone here wants to beautify the area, and we want to keep it strong. So I ask you to let it stay strong, let it grow, increase your revenue. It's not a bad thing. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on second reading 226-24? Mike?
Hi, everyone. Mike Giuliano, 24 Elm Street. Also current planning board chairman, have been for about 10 years. Was appointed to the Board of Adjustment in 2005. So there's a long history on how we got to this point. I'm thrilled with annexation. We're looking forward to doing a new master plan to incorporate all of our southern neighbors now into Seaside Park. But some of the comments I've heard tonight, I just think are ridiculous. You want to be part of Seaside Park? You're now part of Seaside Park. There's been a long journey to where where the residential standards are tonight. Started in 2008. In 2008, the entire master plan was redone. I was on the Board of Adjustment then. The planning board redid the master plan and made all of the 3 zones of Seaside Park one zone, one residential zone, with an accommodation. The 5,000 square feet was the base, but an accommodation for any size lot down to 2,500 square feet can have a house built without a variance. That has worked from 2008 to 2026. We don't even get many requests for variances. We don't get any requests for height variances. We've granted one maybe the last 15 years to raise an existing building on K Court Monday night. That was one of the first ones. A lot of complaints we get is buildings are too high. We don't want high buildings. And we have to explain to people, we're accommodating 40-foot tall buildings on the bayfront because we allow a 32-foot tall house on top of the base flood elevation, and that's actually going to go to 44 feet now because of the real rules. So the planning board feels very strongly about this. As a matter of fact, the board sent this request to the mayor and council to please formalize and bring all of the standards of R200, all of the zoning, into the other residential zones that we have now 3. After the master plan, we'll probably have 1. So in 2008, we created 1 residential zone, just R. 2016, after Sandy and after the fire, we looked at it again, redid all of the boardwalk zoning. We looked at it because the school had been closed. I think, Karen, you were on the board then. At that point, the council president Wilkes been on the board longer than me, the mayor's on the board, so we all worked together on this. In 2016, we did a master plan update. We expanded the residential zone a little bit more. In 2021, we did the master plan update and expanded the residential zone almost all the way out, all through town, took out the mixed use zone. So we've worked for 20 years to get these standards exactly where we want them. We don't get complaints from residents who live in the original boundary. The people in South Seaside Park, I'm thrilled to have them, want to be part of Seaside Park. Those are the zoning rules we want. Those are the zoning rules we've worked 20 years, since 2008, or maybe almost 20 years, to arrive at. The planning board has several class 4 members that have been on that board for years, and we feel very strongly about that, to continue the progress. We don't want 2 sets of rules. There was a lot of concern when we made the request to council to change the front setback from 20 to 15. It's like, whoa, it's going to be terrible. We never received a complaint. People were happy because then they had more backyard to put pools in, and we weren't getting a lot of requests for variances to put pools in. There was a lot of consternation about, well, what's going to happen when we by the way, our height is 35 feet, not 32 feet. 32 feet only comes into play when we're on the ocean, on the bayfront. So our height is 35. We eliminated, years ago, deliberately eliminated the definition of building height that used to be measured halfway up, as Mr. Birchler said, from the soffit to the roof. We didn't want that. We said, no, because then you don't have a height of 35 feet, you have a height of over 40 feet. We wanted the height restricted to 35, so the mayor and council did what the planning board requested and redesignated the height measurement from the curb to the highest point in the house. The only exception to that are chimneys that are required by code, so you don't end up with fire. So where we are now is exactly where we want to be. It's not going to be a 2-tiered neighborhood. There's different size houses all throughout the town. That's the way it is. And as Attorney Cipriani said, every time there's a zone change, something is like, whoa, it's going to be different. Yeah, because we're always trying to move forward. And it's also driving the building department crazy. They need a set of standards they can work with. I get calls daily. Councilman Wilkins calls daily, like, what are we doing? How do we do this? We need a set of standards that comports with the original Seaside Park, expanded into our bigger family now, which I'm thrilled to have, and we're gonna be looking at a master plan. So we're asking to please respect the wishes of the planning board, who volunteers who work diligently for no thanks, and we don't always make a lot of friends trying to pass variances. But that's my long-winded appeal, to please pass this ordinance now, so we can move forward, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Any other comments on second reading 226-24?
Hi, Jen
Yes.
Bosco, 106 Surf Drive. My husband spoke before. I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate, we're learning here, and I think you said something really important. You guys have been working on this for 20 years. The folks in South Seaside Park, we've had 20 days, right? So,
Had 11 years.
well, I think there's a learning curve here, right? And I think we're all trying to keep up with it. But as some of my neighbors have said before, some of us bought recently. We spent a significant amount of money, a lot more money than the folks have spent buying houses in Seaside Park, right? So we paid those premiums. We worked hard through the process. We followed every rule to get to this point. So not having a grace period, making these rules so quickly change, feels abrupt, it feels unneighborly, it feels like Seaside Park doesn't want South Seaside Park, right? It feels like we're clunky and we want to get pushed right into Seaside Park quickly, but it's a tough one for us. It's a tough one when you've spent a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of effort, time and effort that's hard to go back and start over and redo. So I will again make an appeal to take a little bit more time here. It's been thought about for 20 years, but we haven't had any time to get used to this or to understand why it's happening and what it means. So I think a grace period feels appropriate and would appreciate if it was considered.
If I may?
Yes.
I really understand, and I had said during meetings many times, and I know that the mayor had said as well, and the other members of the governing body, that the transition was always going to be difficult. I think it's really, and honestly, I do. I mean, I don't know exactly what your approval status is, but I think you personally may be fine with this. But to the point that was made, there were always going to be some difficulties in growth because you were part of a different town. And that town had its own way of doing things and its own positives, its own negatives, and the will of the majority. I just have to say, I think it's a really unfair thing to say to this mayor and council that, responded, Seaside Park did not go looking for South Seaside Park to join. South Seaside Park went, I think it was 11 years, and I know when it was further back in history, to be part of Seaside Park. And this mayor and council worked so hard to go through the process, to get all the information, and considered, and a lot of, not only did they consider, but a lot of members of the public of the Seaside Park, existing Seaside Park, said how much they welcomed you. So it's absolutely, you have every right to feel discombobulated and uncomfortable,
And that's what I mean.
but you should not feel unwelcome.
Well, and again, we love it here. We want to be part of this community more than anything, right? We love it here. So I want to learn more. I do not know enough, and I appreciate everyone's time and effort so much. I really do. I hope that comes across.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments on second reading 226-24? Yes, sir.
Kevin Ahern, 45 22nd Avenue. My wife Sally Jo, we just purchased 108 Midway Avenue. Just very quickly, from what I understand, I'm not sure if the height is 32 or 35 feet. I don't know where we're measuring from. That's number one. Number two, we bought this property in January with the understanding we had 3,200 buildable square feet. We are now, from what I understand, down 9 feet, and I'm losing 1,000 square feet. I was under the assumption that Seaside Park would be adopting Berkeley's codes. And that's why I purchased the property. So if I could just have a clarification where we're measuring from and what is the height we could build to.
So the height is, I think you heard the planning board chair says, depends on where you're located. Generally, it's 35. It seems that in the bay, it may be 32. Again, I have no idea where your specific lot is, but it's one of those. And I believe you also heard the measurement is from the curb to the, why can't I think, the top of the roof, the peak. Thank you.
So from the curb,
It depends on where where you are in the flood zone.
okay.
The higher you up towards the ocean, it would be 35 feet. If it's above, 3 feet above flood, it's measured from flood height.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Rob Chino from Dakin Homes. I have about 7 or 8 homes currently under final design phase for building in South Seaside Park, Berkeley. And they're all gonna have to change. They've spent a lot of money, a lot of time doing plans, engineering, surveys, and now it's all gonna change. And that's fine, change happens, however you vote, how you can vote. My only ask or suggestion, in lieu of my homeowners, is to give it a 6-month grace period, it's 4-month grace period for the people. So overly, there's probably 20 homes, 20 or 30 maybe, that are in the same phase as we are. So what's another 30 homes built to the standards that are in Seaside Park? So now, Berkeley. So if you would give it 5-6 months grace period, so people that haven't spent all this money can build what they designed, I think might be a solution for everybody. And you only get, what, 30, 35 more homes that are gonna be built like the homes that are there now. My only suggestion or ask. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comments on second reading 22624? Hearing none, I would close the public portion and entertain a motion from council as to the ordinance.
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Motion by Council President Wilk,
That's with the modifications we made on the streets, right? That's the one we're talking about now, 24, correct?
on 22624, yeah, the other two.
Later.
Is there a second?
Yeah, second.
A second by Councilmember Condos?
Sorry.
Yes. Roll call?
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos,
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda.
Excuse me, I'm just getting a little clarification from our attorney.
Oh, yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I'm still not, I don't know, I think we're rushing it a little bit. I know you guys have put in a lot of time, Michael explained it very well, but I've grown up in this town. We bought our houses in 1968. We had 2 houses on our lot. I'm on 11th Avenue. Most of the people on 12th, 11th, 13th also had 2 houses like that. We had mixed use on the boulevard. We had more businesses in town. I think sometimes we rush to judgment. If we want to make it a gated community, that seems to be the way we're heading with all our 50 no businesses and stuff. So I'm going to vote no.
Motion approved.
Thank you. And I know the comment we didn't mention earlier, one of the developers, experts that had come before the board on Monday night's hearing referenced the fact of individuals where Seaside Park actually only required on front setbacks, for example, 15 feet. Berkeley requires 25 feet. So there are certain areas that the code, if you will, and the standards rather, from Seaside Park were more and are more liberal, if that's the right word. It does entail the challenge of reconfiguring whatever is proposed, I understand, but again, as our attorney has explained, and I don't know the details of the one applicant who referenced the comments earlier, where they are in the approval process, but it appeared from the comments that they had approvals, but I don't know the particulars. But I certainly thank everyone for their comments, and they were considered and are being considered fully, and were considered even prior to this at a very long discussion Monday night as well, with very similar comments.
Mayor, I'd just like to add, out of all the concerns after Sandy with the rebuilding, the biggest concern and complaint was the height of the buildings. We do rely and have a phenomenal fire department. These homes are up on pilings, they're susceptible to wind. We have the benefit with the real rooms. We do have one benefit: the ground floor is open, available to use for entertaining, vehicles, space that your house is not on, a crawl space. You do gain a lot more value of your property by utilizing the ground floor, and the height, I believe, is very generous. That's one of the items that we get the most complaints about, is the height of the homes. So that's been brought up multiple times.
I think also one of the comments, and I did hear everything you said and read the emails that we got, you know, the concept of two-tier. I think any point in time, as Ms. Cipriani said, I mean, like, when I rebuilt my home after Hurricane Sandy, it's lower now than it would be allowed if I did it right now. But that was what was in place at the time. So you have to build to what exists at that point in time. I mean, you can't, and I appreciate a grace period concept, because I think that that's always good, and you kind of want to say, okay, well, can grandfather, and I think that's what we're saying. Those that had already, you know, gotten approved plans, you honor those plans. But when you talk about a grace period, no matter what, like if we said tonight you needed 30 days and we gave a 30-day, there's going to be somebody who comes in next time that's going to say, but I was only 5 days away. You know, I wasn't here at that meeting, and I didn't understand because I didn't get to hear Mike. So there's never going to be a perfect time, and I think, you know, one of the things that we as a council struggled with a lot when we were even contemplating annexation is making sure that we were able to make decisions, you know, in a very timely manner, so that you didn't have issues lingering any longer than they had to. And I respect the planning board greatly. It's not an easy job. It's not a paid position. And they've been doing it very, very long and very well. So that's kind of why I was feeling like, you know, they put the thought into it. I'm never going to be an expert the way they are. So I respect that position.
I think another point making, which seconds the sentiment of Council President Wilk and tells height, I know it's a property that's, I believe, distinguishable from everyone who spoke this evening. I don't know that in terms of the structure, the zone, etc., but being a mayor of Seaside Park, I, with no exaggeration, received probably the most complaints. Why don't you do something? Why aren't you addressing a situation about a structure as we all go down Central 35 from now our welcome new residents of Seaside Park along 35, and there's one structure that stands out worse than a sore thumb. It's so tall, and it's in a different set of facts and circumstances, I believe, than everyone who spoke here this evening. But that being said, everyone complained about its height. And why is it being allowed? Well, of course, we had no jurisdiction of saying anything about it here at Seaside Park. It wasn't our town at the time. It became our town effective April 6, and we're advised that that particular property was involved in litigation. And that litigation was settled on April 29th. When it was a structure in the borough of Seaside Park in the Superior Court, it was settled. Our attorney has looked into it. Apparently Berkeley Township had been brought in as an interested party, and they were out of the case under summary judgment. But nonetheless, that's just one representative of a number of complaints we've received over the years about which we really had nothing to say, and nor could we take a stand. And once that structure was located in Seaside Park, when we could perhaps have looked at it, I don't know that that would have changed that outcome, but it was settled after our new neighbors were welcomed, and I emphasize that comment with wholeheartedly. Each and every resident of Seaside Park, or what had been called South Seaside Park, is now a welcome, very welcome new resident, and all of us extend that welcome to Seaside Park. So if indeed there are certain issues, and I heard about garbage cans, I know there are some issues, and there still will be. There's some blips here and some obstacles, unfortunately, we have felt caused by Berkeley Township. The only major issue that stands above all others right at this moment, that dwarfs all others. There are lots of issues, and they're all something that we are participating in good faith in trying to resolve and work out so that strangers don't do it, and that's what a court is. It's appointing, they may be experts, but they are ultimately not those that live in the community and that can actually reason and work out a settlement if possible. But the one issue that strikes us as not just unfair, something that must be addressed immediately, entails the fact that property taxpayers, homeowners who own property in the southern portion of our town are paying their tax bills to a municipality located 16 and a half miles away, and that municipality is, as we speak, keeping the tax dollars, while Seaside Park, as all of us, all of our community, are paying for all the services. That is absolutely inappropriate and wrong and must be addressed.
Yep.
So I thank everyone, and I hope, I know I heard the comment earlier, and I don't want anyone to think that they're not a welcome member of our community and a welcome resident. So, that being said, the next is ordinance, and we thank our special counsel, Ms. Cipriani, for being here.
Does that mean I'm excused?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Your earlier promise is that the streets are off the table once you leave.
I prolonged it, so
The
I can't hold anybody else responsible.
Next item is first reading and introduction. It's a bond ordinance 22625, providing for various capital acquisitions and improvements and appropriating $2,209,000 therefore, and providing for the issuance of $1,874,670 in general improvement bonds or notes of the Borough of Seaside Park to finance the same. Any comments from council, this being a first reading?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to summarize.
Yes, certainly.
Again, as the mayor mentioned, it's the aggregate that's being taken is $2.209 million. Of that, $98,667 is for a down payment. But that also includes a $235,663 grant amount from the New Jersey DOT for year 2026 as part of their municipal aid program, and that's for the F Street reconstruction. It includes, again, this whole amount includes like $42,500 for the fire department for turnout gear and Scott cylinders, another just over $194,000 for the acquisition of a truck for the fire department and 2 vehicles for the police department, $181,859 for the acquisition for the equipment for a new fire truck, as well as parking kiosks for the police department and an articulating bucket mount for the DPW. Next up is a dump truck. The total cost is $300,000, but that's being shared between the general fund, which is what we're talking about now, and the water sewer department. And again, that's for a dump truck, and it's $150,000 from each of the from the general fund and the
water sewer utility. Mentioned the reconstruction of F Street, that's $427,304. Another $105,560 for the reconfiguration of the tennis courts, and that's into pickleball courts. And street marker replacements as the street, the vertical street identifiers, and a generator housing replacement at Barrow Hall, which is in great disrepair due to weather over the years. It's also cutting out $1,007,678 towards the Bayfront flood mitigation project. And lastly, $100,000 for the municipal building improvements, that's this building, including without limitation to asbestos removal. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Bill. Any other comments on first reading? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember Connor.
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Rotunda. Roll call.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next is also a first reading of an ordinance, its introduction, bond ordinance 22626, providing for various water sewer utility capital acquisitions and improvements and appropriating $612,000, therefore providing for the issuance of $581,400 in water and sewer utility bonds or notes of the Borough of Seaside Park to finance the same. Any comments?
Yes, I'd like to summarize this one. This one will be a little quicker. Again, it's $612,000. Of that, $30,600 will, are for the several down payments for the three items, consisting of $40,000 towards the acquisition of equipment, and including an equipment trailer and a generator. $422,000 for improvements to water and sewer facilities and buildings, including the rehab of wells and various water and sewer capital improvements and capital repairs. And the last item is the DPW share of $150,000 for the new dump truck.
Thank you, Bill. Any other comments from council, or if not, a motion for first reading?
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Rotunda,
Second?
second by Councilmember Kraft. Roll call.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Motion approved.
The last item on the ordinance array is first reading, introduction, bond ordinance 22627, providing for various marina utility improvements, appropriating $5,646,000, therefore providing for the issuance of $5,553,700 in marina utility bonds or notes of the Borough of Seaside Park to finance same.
Even quicker. Of that amount, $292,300 is for the down payment. $43,734, that's for electrical upgrades for the underground cabling that goes to the power panels, and that's off of I Street and K Streets. And for the marina reconstruction project, which includes permitting and design as well as reconstruction, is $5,802,266. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Bill. Any other comments from council? If not, a motion for first reading?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilmember Kraft.
I'll second it.
Second by Council President Wilk. Roll call.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Motion approved.
The next are authorizations. There is one, an event, Hearts of Surfing, date Saturday, June 27th, 2026, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Location, 13th Avenue, Ocean Beach. Any Questions, comments from council, or if not, a motion?
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Motion by Councilmember Connor,
Second.
second by Councilmember Condos. Roll call.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next are payment of claims, 226-218, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the check registry bill list for the time period May 8th, 2026 to May 21st, 2026. Any comments from council? If not, a motion?
Make motion to approve.
Motion by Councilmember Condos,
Second.
second by Councilmember Kraft. Roll call.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next are resolutions, and I'll read in summary fashion. 219, authorizing the tax collector to cancel taxes property qualified for veterans' property tax exemption. 220, designating handicap parking on streets for private residences. 221, authorizing purchase of lighting equipment and installation from Facilities Solutions Group through the Interlocal Purchasing System TIPS contract number 230-10402. 222, appointing seasonal employees of the Department of Beach Patrol. 223, appointing a Class 1 Special Law Enforcement Officer, SLEO, for the calendar year 2026. 224, determining the form and other details of its note relating to the Water Bank Construction Financing Program of the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank to be issued in the principal amount of up to $1,700,000 and providing for the issuance and sale of such note to the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank and authorizing the execution and delivery of such note by the Borough of Seaside Park in favor of the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank, all pursuant to the Water Bank Construction Financing Program and in connection with the Stormwater Maintenance Equipment Project. 225, authorizing a part-time tax assessor for the Borough of Seaside Park. 226, appointing seasonal employees for the Department of Beach Control. 227, authorizing the sale of surplus property no longer needed for public use on an online auction site. 228, memorializing understanding with Berkeley Township. Yep. And that concerning the beach buggy pass issues, recognizing same. 229, authorizing the extension of a shared service agreement with the Borough of Surf City for municipal court administrator services, continuing that which has been in effect for some period. Any comments or questions from council members as to any of the resolutions?
I have a comment to make on 2026-224, the 1.7 million for the stormwater maintenance equipment project. This is for temporary financing because that project is 100% forgiveness. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Bill.
Mayor,
Yes.
one other comment, and not, I still think they're appropriate as they are, but 2022, the seasonal employees for Beach Patrol represent our lifeguards, and I believe most of these are new and first-year lifeguards. And then 2026 Beach Control, which are our badge checkers, and I think I said this once before, when we get to this time of year and we approve them, I would like us to look at, not for tonight, and I think this is still appropriate for at least my vote, but it's only a 58-cent difference to be a lifeguard versus a badge checker. And to me, that just doesn't feel right. I mean, there's a lot of responsibility for a lifeguard, and I just think $16.50 is, it's not very much money when we're paying $15.92 for a badge checker.
Wage.
I know, but I think we have to adjust similar to what we've done with other titles in the past and look at that for our lifeguards. It's very low for the responsibility.
Yeah, that's a good comment. Any other comments from council on any resolution? If not, it's our practice, it's not required by law, but we allow public comments on any individual resolution. If anyone has one, if they could give their name and address into the record. Seeing none, I would close, yes, Don?
Yes, just one, I don't think you can do anything bad, but you have to keep this in mind. The lots down at Seaside Park, my house, is assessed at 400,000 with lot and house. The one that I was concerned about is 2622. The lots are 325, which means my house is 75,000. When the revow comes in again for Seaside Park.
Which one are you on?
The first one,
This is just about resolutions.
you already passed it, can I?
You come back.
Okay, well, in the public portion, if you
Oh,
have
I thought this
comments,
was public.
this is the resolution anyway? Yeah, thanks.
Hi.
See, you skip a minute, you leave, you miss, you're getting out of order.
Anyone have a comment on any of the specific resolutions? Hearing none, I would close the public portion, and I'd entertain a motion from council as a consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Rotunda, and second by Councilman Connor? Okay.
Let's call me Joe.
Roll call?
Councilmember Rotunda?
Yes.
Councilmember Connor?
Yes.
Councilmember Condos?
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft?
Yes.
Council President Wilk?
Yes.
Motion approved.
That concludes the written agenda. Anyone else on council have any submissions at this juncture?
Just one other comment that I meant to make, and I lost track of myself, but I just want to comment also on the 228 one about the beach buggies and honoring that. I think that's another good example of where we as the municipality have really acted in good faith and honored those and are trying to do, and it was a similar effort that we tried to do with beach badges that failed that discussion. But I think this is a good example of we continually try to do the right thing.
Yeah, because this is actually where we got something from Berkeley Township to be able to look at and be able to figure that out and be able to do this
That actually considered their actual residents.
versus, yes, that versus some other, most issues. So,
Thank you. Anything else from council? Any, certainly.
Resolutions or just generally?
No, just general at this juncture. if
Okay,
if
I
anyone-
think one of our residents is going to say something, but hers is separate from what I was going to say. As part of the Environmental Advisory Committee being the liaison, there's a lot of activities coming up. I think we're going to hear about one of them shortly, but there's also another one I just wanted to put on the calendar for people on June 17th, right here in council chambers, which will be really good. It's called From Source to Sea, and it's informational session on the watershed and the effects it has on the health of our Barnegat Bay and the island. We have environmentalists, a marine science expert coming in to speak, so I'll put the flyers out, but you'll see them all around town. That's June 17th.
Thank you, Gina. Anything else from council?
Sherry.
Certainly, we welcome all our residents to participate and attend our annual Memorial Day service scheduled, and we're hoping that the weather cooperates this Monday, as always, outdoors at this building, 9:30 in the morning, and that is always a very special moment for Seaside Park, and everyone is naturally welcome to attend. Anything else from council?
Mayor, I'd just like to thank Public Works for an outstanding job. They got the arena ready for the farmer's market. The beaches are ready for this weekend, even though the weather's not projected to be very well, up to par, but we're all ready to go, working very hard.
Yep, it looks good. The lawns are mowed.
Lawns mowed.
Thank you. Anything else from council? We second those sentiments naturally. Welcome. The Public Works and all our departments have been working around the clock to get ready for the season. And there is an event tomorrow, again, Weather's Committee, I know. Gina, you want to take the floor?
I forgot. I feel like I've said it so many times.
Yeah.
But we also have a tug of war, our first tug of war with Borough of Seaside Heights, benefiting our respective fire departments. So it's really just for fun and as a fundraiser. We had done some fundraising through Jersey Mike's. So those have concluded, and tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. on DuPont Avenue, there will be a fun-spirited tug of war. Anybody's welcome to participate, employees, volunteers in the departments, or anybody in the public. So if you'd like to come out and have a poll tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Especially to participate.
Yeah, we
as
need
well.
participants, right? We don't need to all pull out our backs. Bring your young friends.
Yeah, good backs. Anything else from council? Hearing none, I'll go into the audience for public comment. Sherry has been patient, and she has the floor.
Hi, I'm Sherry Joseph, 704 South Bayview, but today I'm coming to you as a representative of the Environmental Advisory Committee. I want to be sure to invite you and the remainder of our audience to our May 30th Bay Beach cleanup. We're going to have a lot of fun. It starts at 10 a.m. Saturday morning, and we are going to clean the Bay Beaches all the way from the entry into Seaside Park sign on Route 35 all the way down the Bay Beaches and the natural areas to Island Beach State Park Marina. So we got a big job. We've got lots of volunteers coming. I'm dressed ridiculously like this to show you what the proper attire will be. We need long sleeves, long pants, closed pants, gloves. We will supply buckets, grabbers, vests, and water. So just come, we'll have lots of fun. It starts at 10 a.m. Registration opens at 9:45. We'll be starting on Bayview and 8th at the Pump House gazebo. And look forward to a great adventure. This is not only to just clean up the trash, to keep it to go so it doesn't go into Barnegat Bay, but it's also our chance to make people aware that as citizens, there are things we can do to help the environment on a practical basis. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you. And I'd just like to add that Sherry has been outstanding on sharing this for the committee. I don't know how many times she's talked to Eric at DPW, and I think Eric is actually really excited, which, if you know Eric, it's great that you got Eric really excited about something. But he's thrilled that he's actually, I think you had said he was concerned we may have too many volunteers, and I'm like, that's wonderful if we get too many volunteers, but you've done a great job, and you've got everybody very excited about it.
Thank you. Thank you, Sherry, and your committee, and Gina.
Yeah, she did the work.
Any other public comments? Here, Don?
Hi, this is just going to be short. Something that happens with the older houses down at South Seaside Park. We were assessed, the land were assessed very high. So what happens, the structures aren't worth that much money. So, I mean, I agree that at least with the 50%, and it's not a cumulative, and I'll give you an example of my house. I'm on a lot, 5,500 lot, which is assessed at 325, but my house is assessed for 75,000. So if I was to do any work, putting windows in and different items, I would get up to that 50% pretty quick. Doesn't matter right now, but in the future, if a reevaluation takes place, I would hope that instead of going with really high values of land, that we have a very similar land price as well as structure price, where if you do work, it's not going to somehow interfere on doing things to make your house look nice. That's basically in the future looking for a reval in Seaside Park. Thank you.
Thank you,
Just
Don.
like to add, that's not the only source for the evaluation. It's not taken from your tax bill.
Oh,
You
really?
have your own valuation.
Yeah, you can have a,
You can have your own appraisal done.
appraisal done.
Okay. All right.
And
Just
so the record, you're
Just the record.
speaking about the ordinance
Yeah.
22622 that's
He passed it.
not,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
that's,
So-
no, that was not passed. This is,
Oh.
that's going to have a second reading as substantially amended on
Okay.
June 18th. But the portion that you're referring to in the comment related thereto is definitely still relevant to
Okay.
that hearing of June 18th. And it really goes to our, how calculations in this problem came after Sandy in particular.
Because Berkeley had told us what I'm telling you, basically 50%, and it's cumulative, and it was like, what are you guys doing here? My lot is 325, my house is 75,000, how much work can I do on it? So, thank you.
Yeah, this will address that problem.
Yes, it will address that comment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Yes, Bobby?
Yeah, Bobby Ring, 119 Surf Drive. At the risk of leaving someone out of this, I want to, I've already talked about what the Public Works Department has done, and I think with the addition of the additional beach and the additional community area that they have to help maintain and prepare for the season, that the unsung heroes. And I just want to publicly thank Marty for his focus on that, and that department work and all that too. Undoubtedly, there's going to be someone who's going to have a complaint that's just not expecting there to be a bump in the road, and I'll be the first one to defend you guys, and thank you for that. Really want to thank you too for working out those beach buggy passes. It's a shame we couldn't do that with the beach badges. I know you tried, but I'm glad to see that Berkeley came to their senses today. But I would hope that we get that check for the beach buggy passes sometime soon. But I'm not holding my breath. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Bobby. Any other public comments? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public portion and adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Motion by Council President Wilk,
So move second.
second by Councilmember Rotunda. Roll call.
Council President Wilk,
Yes.
Councilmember Rotunda,
Yes.
Councilmember Condos.
Yes.
Councilmember Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Kraft.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And thank everyone for coming out this evening.